start another file.
Okay, yeah, we should, go ahead.
So I'll be on my own file. So we should sit down with them and explain that although he understands why they're doing it, and it is bureaucracy, that it's important to do it as correct as they can.
Okay.
Exactly correct. So,
So they should not fill out the
they
forms?
should not continue. But the ones that they fill out are fine.
Okay.
It's really, in the grand scheme of things, it's the little bit of data that they filled out inaccurately isn't gonna matter.
Right.
Then,
So they should not continue to fill out the forms because?
because we want them to be as accurate as we can while still giving people this food service.
Okay, therefore, we
Yep.
should,
Therefore, we should help assist the people as they're filling out the forms. And as Pastor Kelly said, and I think somebody else, if it comes down that they don't understand it, then just pick something.
okay,
That way the government gets exactly, that's what they need. The government really wants to give this stuff away. If you talk to people who work in the government, they don't want it back, they want it.
Mhm.
And so they're legally required to pass this thing, so they do.
okay. So, as I was messing with that, some people have actually, the other thing that people shared and that I heard was, we've had that sheet before. We've been in a place, either in school or something else, that we've had that sheet. That also impacts your decision, how you make that choice. What I heard really from everybody was, our first concern is really that people get fed. But we need to do that in a way that they get fed, but that we are working within, the system. And then maybe we will,
As best we can.
as
Right,
best we
that's my
can,
example.
as best we can. And I think that, you look at, what I heard a lot of was kind of situational. So it depends.
Sure.
But there are people out there that make decisions, and you started that way, Jim, in that very black and white, absolutely not, we should never ever do this. And it wasn't that you were saying we shouldn't help people, it was just, there's a right way, and you were all about the data.
Yeah.
And it was and you were exactly right, it was your background. It was your assumptions as someone who has dealt with data. I'm gonna guess some of your impact was because I know that you were a police officer. That impacts it. So those are you've worked with the homeless, you've worked with the hungry. Those are the things that are the assumptions that we talk about in here. What impacts it? Too often, when you are trying to make a decision and you have one opinion, you stop at, you make your proposal, we should do this. You make your next statement because of this, and that's where conversations stop. This says, I'm saying this, because of this, and therefore we should do this, and the reason I'm saying that is because of these assumptions. Because I'm a librarian, because I was a police officer, because I've eaten that cheese, because I've needed assistance before, because I look at scripture and base my life on what scripture tells me, because I have an example in Jesus. Too often when we are talking with people, we don't get to the, let's make that assumption. We stop at, we should do this because of this. And what this is to do and teach is, what are those next two steps?
Are you saying that's kind of where the deeper conversation and debate or discussion,
Uh-huh.
discernment happens?
Yes.
Where someone else's underlying assumption or life experience might be an epiphany to us, but then gives us a chance to say, well, here's why I'm coming at it the way I am. And so there's another way to see it based on where you've been and
Right.
what your assumptions are about why you want to resolve it in a
So
particular
what
way.
we're going to attempt to do is give the opportunity for the assumptions to come out so that we can marry them in such a way that whatever the decision is, at least all these different bits and pieces were considered.
Right, well, how do you get to that point? So, okay, you're saying we should do this because we've always done it. And I said, okay, I understand that, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel, but can we look at this from another point of view, or can we just lay this out a little bit? But you're done, you don't wanna have that conversation. How do you open that up?
Well, and you can't make someone do those
Right,
next things.
Right, I understand that.
And I know you know that, but I think the next step is asking those questions. We've always done it. Tell me what's important to you about tradition. It wouldn't seem like church if I didn't come and sit in a pew. Okay. What is it about sitting in a pew that makes it seem like church? Well, because it's the one memory I have of my grandma. So how do you get those people to open up? Sometimes you can't because and what we talked about in class was it takes a level of trust. You have to have a level of trust with those people to be able to say, I ate that cheese. My aunt and uncle got that cheese. Sometimes I hope the boss isn't looking and I do this. There had to be a level of trust. And so it is about creating that level of trust. And when they have that trust, that you're not going to come back and use it against them. You are more likely to share those things. And so it might not happen right away. But as you develop that sense of trust, it then is more likely. All right. I have kept you longer than I intended. Thank you all. Great discussion. And I hope that it is something that you can use in various aspects of your life.
I have one quick story after you turn it off.